Are you an aficionado of the tiny keyboard? Are you in need of keycap for that tiny keyboard? Well, today we are going to seek and see what group buys are available so that a year and a half, maybe, it's good to expect delays, your tiny keyboard will be outfitted with keycap and all will be well. So stay tuned. Well, welcome back. You are joining me in my mother's basement, or the light coming in through that window. It's a raised basement, 30 feet. Don't worry about it. And you are joining me on our quest to find keycap sets that can cover our tiny little keyboards. Before we get too far into it, I just want to mention that, one, there are 5 rankings. There's not 40 friendly, where no effort was really made. 40 okay, where there's a set, but not really, for 40%. All right, where actually you have pretty good coverage. 40 pretty good, where you can cover multiple different types of keyboards with that keycap set, based off their default layout, things like that. And then the very hard to get 40 friendly, where pretty much whatever you have, you're going to be covered, as long as you're not too inventive with your keycap layout. I also want to mention that I'm going to be now looking at price a lot closer. If anything's over $180, it better be 40 friendly, or I might start counting against it. Not a concern for a lot of the keycaps. However, if it's GMK, it crosses that line quite a bit. I'm also going to briefly mention a few online stores that have ready-to-ship keycaps. Now, I'm going to mention right now that I don't have any affiliation with these stores. They don't sponsor anything. I've been in contact with anybody that actually works at these places. I have bought from a couple of them, but it's just to kind of bring them to people's attention. So if you do need a keycap set, like a week from now versus in 35 years, when your kids are graduating from college, you can make sure it happens. So that is enough rambling. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, and the first keycap set we have here is Infinikey Cabernet. And I just realized, having actually said that, not 100% sure I actually know how to pronounce Cabernet. I'm going to assume that's correct. Just to be sure, I'm going to pronounce it like a redneck and say Cabernet. Yes, Infinikey Cabernet. Now, I'm going to go through this really fast and take a look at it. Infinikey usually does a very good job with their 40 kits, and I'm going to give the verdict on it, and I'm going to mention what criteria I'm looking for in these keycaps. Hopefully, they don't let us down. We've been lucky with them before. Now, before we go into it, looks like, and just like we had previously, looks like they have most of their extra keycaps in a set here. Let's go and take a look at, oh, this is interesting. Haven't seen it like this before. For group buy, admittedly. Looks like we have an all-in-one set here where we don't have to buy like a base kit, I'm assuming. So I just checked to see, and I can't see if it says like the alphas are not included, so I'm just going to assume that the alphas are included. Let's take a look here at, we're just going to forget about that row 1 there. Let's look at row 2 here in this assembled ortho linear kit here. We have a 1-unit tab. We have on row 3 a caps lock, if you swing that way. No judgment from me, a little bit of judgment. A 1-unit enter on row 3. So far, so good. Looks like 2 1-unit shifts on row 4. We have a control, an FN, a code, alt, lower and raise, arrows, 2 2-unit space bars, as well as 2 1-unit. So pretty good ortho kit just start off there. But then we have all these keycaps underneath there. So starting off with row 2, get out of here, row 1. We have a 1-unit backspace, 2-unit backspace, 1.5-unit backspace, as well as a 175-unit backspace. Don't ask me why I skipped there. And we have a 1-unit, we have escape, both in the darker modifier as well as the lighter modifier, and a delete key. Okay, that's actually a really good row 2. Row 3, we have a 1.25 enter, as well as that 1-unit enter we saw up top. 1.5-unit enter as 175-unit enter. Looks like we have the enters in both colors. Okay, I like that. Because I did notice, looking at this, we only have one color for the arrow keys. I'm not going to knock it for that, but that kind of sucks. If I was buying this, I'd prefer to have the darker arrow keys. But rolling back, so we have good space bars. We have a 1-unit tab, and as well as a 1.25-unit tab on the third row. We have the plain Jane escape. I'm not seeing an accented escape. I'm not going to hold that against this keycap set. As well as F and J keys with bars instead of scoops, like we have in the alphas in the ortho arrangement, as well as apostrophes, and a 175-unit control. So if you like to have control on that third row, and you have it on the right side instead of the inner key, looks like you have an option there. I would have preferred to have that as a 1 1/4 to replace the tab, but any control in row 3 is kind of nice to see. Really doesn't affect the score at all, but, well, not negatively. It's more of its favor. So very good so far. Very good so far. Row 4, the actual row 4, looks like we have, we're going to ignore that caps lock down there. Who has a row 4 caps lock? Probably a lot of people. I'm probably going to get some hate mail about that. We have, it looks like they've mixed up all the row 4, so let's go ahead and let's find the shifts. Now, we know we have 2 1-unit shifts, which is a little overkill, but hey, extra keys are extra keys. We have a 175, 1 1/4, 1 1/2 for those, as well as 2 FN keys. I like to see that. And looks like we also have, let's see here, very good coverage for the 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 unit bottom row modifiers, as well. Oh, we also have a row 4 enter 1 unit that exists. But we also have 2 alts. Looks like we only have one unit control. Okay. I would have liked to see 2 1-unit controls there. I might be looking right over it. That's a little bit of a mark against it. And we also have a 1 1/4 code. Okay, we have 2 1 1/4 codes, as well as 2 1 1/2 unit codes and 2 1-unit codes. So pretty good there. And then we have space bars. And these are a fantastic spacebar selection. So I have not been knocking keycap sets for not having 2 2-unit spacebars, or not having a 1 1/2 unit spacebar, or only having 1 175 unit spacebar. Now, the 2-unit spacebar is supported by the standard plank, as well as a lot of other ortho keyboards like a Levinson. And the 1 1/2 unit's very useful on column staggered ortho kits like a CRKBD. I think also the G-Ergo or Gergo, I've been calling them Gergos, but that's probably wrong. But that's the least of my worries about my mispronunciations. But this actually has 2 of each of those. So that's really nice to see. So if you're rocking like a CRKBD, you can use your spacebars instead of supplementing in 2 1-unit spacebars. And then we have the 2 1/4 unit, as well as a 275 unit and a 6 1/4 unit. And it looks like the 1 unit, as well as the 225 and larger, are convex, which is nice. If you're using a core, that's going to be kind of weird because your 175 will be convex or concave, and your 275 will be convex. So taking a look here, this is actually a fantastic kit. I haven't even looked at the price yet. $70 for all that, as well as numpad. Now, if you are going for a full-size keyboard, actually full-size, yeah, the base kit has pretty good coverage. If you're wanting novelties, I guess you're going to have to spend some more on that. That's not great. And if you're wanting the Dark Legend Alphas kit, that's another $45. It's still not too bad. I mentioned earlier that, I have that $180, $200 limit that I'm going to start kind of knocking keycap sets if they start going over that, and not just having absolutely fantastic coverage. So, Infinikey Cabernet, it's 40 friendly. I'm happy to say that. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video because we only have, looks like 6 keycap sets in total. I'm also going to include some ready to ship in stock stores here in just a moment, or at the end of the video, for you guys that need keycaps before 2077 when Cyberpunk gets released. That was a stupid joke. Don't ask the logic there. Group buys take a long time to ship. So moving on, wasting enough time with that because we do need to get this show on the road. We have JTK Azure. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. JTK, Juliet Tango Kilo Azure. And let's go and take a look, see what kits they have. Triple shot Cyrillic, that's pretty cool. I need to get a triple shot set of something. Space bars, novelties, no 40 kit set. Okay, well let's take a look here at the base kit. Looks like it's kind of following that GMK pattern. We have delete row 2. We have a 1 1/2 unit backspace. I'm assuming that's backspace. We have 1 1/4 shift, 2 unit shift, 175 shift. We have an FN key. We have good bottom row modifier coverage, even though we just have 1 control and 1 unit alt. But it's not 40 friendly. So we're going to make up some space about me rambling about my considerations here. Juliet Tango Azure is not 40 friendly. Now let's move over here. And nothing wrong with that. I actually really like that keycap set. I wish I could buy it, but I don't use a TKL or full size or 60%. And we have another kind of cool keycap set here with GMK Hallyu. I'm mispronouncing that. Looks like it stands for the Korean wave. So GMK the Korean wave. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the kits we have here, and it looks like it's going to be another case of no 40s kits, unless you want to buy a bunch of Rama keycaps. That's affordable. That's affordable. 48 of these guys at $56 a pop. That's good value. Buy now. Pretty standard GMK. Delete on row 2, 1.5 unit, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to waste too much time with this. I'm going to go ahead and knock this one as not 40 friendly. Neat keycap set, though. I do like that. All right, next up we have GMK Taegeukgi. I'm so sorry. I probably just offended a lot of people. Looks like it stands for the flag of South Korea. So GMK, the flag of South Korea. Okay, so they don't spell it out for idiots like me. Looks like we got Korean letters. So that's actually pretty cool. We got some nifty little modifiers there. Okay, looks like we have a 40s kit. Looks pretty bare. But let's go ahead and take a look at the base kit before we judge it. Now, the base kit's $142.99. The 40s kit is $45. Now, I mentioned that $180 to $200 window there. It better knock it out of the park with this one, because that's going to be over 180 bucks. Barely, but still. So, taking a look here, row 2, we have a delete. Then we have a 1.5 unit backspace. Pretty standard. We have good coverage we have very good coverage for bottom row modifiers as well as 2 FN keys. Okay, we got some stuff here. As well as a 1.25 unit shift and a 175 unit shift. That's not nothing. Let's see here. 2 1 unit controls, 2 1 unit alts. That's doing pretty good. So let's go here to the GON. Mispronouncing that again. Okay, let's see what we got here. So row 2, we have a tab, escape, and backspace. Mind you, we also have a delete with the previous kit as well as a 1.5 units backspace, which I think is a UT47. Don't quote me on that, because I have my list here and it looks like that is the standard backspace for the UT47. Okay, but minivan's out. Then we have on row 3, we have escape. We have a 1.25 tab as well as a 175 enter. So ortho's out. Ortho's out unless you're using more of that default plank layout where you have a row 2 tab and row 3 escape. I'm the opposite. And a lot of the column staggers I see are the opposite. A lot of planks tend to be that way, but if you fiddle around with your layout, or if you have many different keyboards, oftentimes I find that's row 2 escape and row 3 tab. So that's not great with that so far. Okay, we also have a 1 unit shift to go along with that 1.25 and 175 unit shift. And then we have a row 4 enter, but we don't have a row 3 enter. We have a code that could be filled in for a couple of things. And then we have 2 1 unit space bars, as well as a 125 space bar. God, I still have not seen a keyboard with that. I probably looked at it 1,000 times. No 175 unit space bar, and no 1.5 unit space bar. We do have 2 unit, we do have 225 and 275, and we have some larger space bars on there. They're not the same color. That's an interesting choice, but that's going to work for somebody. So taking a look at this and taking consideration what comes in the base kit. And the base kit does really good on the bottom row modifiers. I got to give it to it. But we also have no raise and lower. We have no 1 unit tab or enter on the row 3, as well as missing a lot of 1.25, 175, 1.5 unit keycaps here and there. So this one, it's right there on the cusp of being either 40 all right or 40 okay. 40 okay. Now this one, not taking consideration of price, I might barely call it 40 all right, just because there's not a lot of coverage. When we get to that row 3 is the killer for a lot of these. However, like I mentioned, 45 plus $142, that is, what's that, $187, $188. Ninja edit, grabbing my calculator and double checking my mental math, which was right somehow. Oh, so this one, I'm going to give it, because of the price, 40 okay. It might work for some people, but they kind of scooted it over the plate instead of really pitching hard on this one. If it was cheaper, I could see it being considered 40 all right by my standards, but it's 40 okay with this one because it is 180 bucks. I'm going to make an example out of this one. But it's a great looking keycap set. You know, if they had better 40 coverage on this guy, and you can fill in with the novelties. Of course, novelties are. Oh no, they were the GAM. Another $45. Ha! That's not unusual with GMK. I'm not knocking this keycap set in particular. I'm not knocking the people who've worked on this keycap set. That just kind of is something that just kind of is what it is with that. Okay, so next up, after eviscerating the flag of South Korea, GMK flag of South Korea, we have GMK Redline. Okay, now there is a 40 kit on there, but it's GMK. Let's go ahead and give it a shot here really fast because they do include modifiers in the standard kit. Let's see what we got here. So it's GMK. We got delete, we got a 1.5 unit backspace, we have a 175 unit shift, but not a 125. And that's because it looks like they did not include or ISO in this kit. Looks like that is in the numpad kit. Okay. Not gonna hold that against it because it could also be in the 125 shift could be in the 40s kit. And then we have good bottom row coverage. We have at least one FN. That is something there. Okay, 40s. Okay, now this is also a pretty small kit, but I like the coverage that they have here. Row 2, and mind you, the base kit is $104.99, and then the 40s are $44.99. So we're looking at like a $150 kit in that case. So back to the 40 kit here, we have row 2, we have escape as well as the accents. I'm not going to point out the accents, you can see those. Tab and a 1 unit backspace as well as a 175 unit backspace. Row 3, we have the escape, we have a 1 unit tab, we have a 125 tab, we have a 1 unit enter, we have a 175 unit enter as well as a 1.5 unit FN key. Okay, we got some of that filling of that space I was talking about earlier. Row 4, we got 2 1 unit shifts. We have a 125 that's going to go along with that 175 unit shift as well. We have a row 4 ender. That is what it is. We do have a lower and raise. We also have a 175 unit lock, potentially, I guess, to replace a left hand shift. I'm probably missing a lot of use cases for that. Don't hate me. Now, taking a look here at the space bars, looks like all the space bars are convex. Something that GMK does I like, and I really do appreciate. It's a shame I don't like cherry profile. I prefer spherical. However, I'm typing on cherry profile right now. Doesn't bother me. And in my opinion, they look better than like signature plastic, like SA and DSA keycaps for their double shot. It's just the colors pop more. Pluses and minuses to everything. So we have 2 1 unit space bars. We have a 125, 175, 2 unit, 225, 275. Okay. So for this one, I think it's earned its spot in the 40 pretty good. It's pretty good keycap coverage. Between the base kit as well as the 40s kit here, we have good coverage. It's $150, which is expensive. Don't get me wrong. That is expensive. But these keycaps are expensive anyway for what they are, but there's a lot more things that go into that, like manufacturing cycles, yada, yada. Anyways, moving on. Now, this one's on the lower side of 40 pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and call this one 40 pretty good. Just because we're going to have a good chunk of your keyboards you're going to find out in the wild covered with this, with their close to default layouts. Now we have Cat's Eye. That's probably going to be the last time I'm going to say that entire name. And so this is going to be a cat kit, highly sculpted. We're going to have PBT die subbed keycaps. And these tend to be structured more like the signature plastic SA keycaps, where we have alpha separated from our modifiers. And usually pretty good pricing on them too. You know, even the double shots ABS SA keycaps usually come in for a pretty good price. A little bit more, but really not bad. So Alpha's kits, looks like we have a light and a dark option here for the colorway. And let's go ahead and take a look at this 40s kit first. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So with this keycap set, it also splits up the staggered 40% from the ortho sets here. And we'll take a look at the price here in just a moment, because that could sometimes be a little interesting. But let's take a look here. Okay, so row 2, we have escape, tab, backspace, 1 unit, as well as a 1.5 unit backspace and 175 unit backspace, but no 1 unit delete. Then in row 3, we have no 1 unit enter or 1 unit tab. However, this is going for the staggered 40 kits, and that's really not viable for a staggered 40% keyboard usually on that row. But we do have a 1/4 unit tab, a 1 1/4 unit control. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, you guys that like to kind of follow that more, that HHKB style of having that control on a higher row, that's nice. And that'll be on the same row as a traditional caps lock, as well as a 125, 1.5, 175 unit enter. Shift, we have a 1 unit, a 125, a 1.5, 175. Oh, we have two 175 unit shifts. Okay. So we got those. And it's not uncommon to see a 1 unit shift on a 40 keyboard. That makes sense. The 1 unit shift on the right-hand side a lot more than a 1 unit tab or 1 unit enter, for example. Row 4, I'm just going to say it right now without going through, that's going to waste time. We got bottom row modifiers taken care of. We got 2 FN keys as well as a 1 1/4 FN and a 1.5 unit FN. So that is very good. I like to see that. We're only using system for system and I'm assuming menu, and we only have the 2 FN keys, but we also have a blank 1 unit spacebar there. I'm sure some people might use that as a 1 unit spacebar, but I can also see that as a fill-in for something on the bottom row, an extra FN key or a menu key, just And we have a 6 1/4 unit spacebar, two 175 unit spacebars, a 2 unit, a 225, two 225s, and a 275 unit spacebar. So for a staggered keycap set, as well as arrows. Almost forgot the arrows, and as well as a 175 lock. This is doing pretty good. That lack of a 1 unit delete is kind of big because, like I mentioned with the Cabernet, I am weighting the keycaps that come on the Planck EZ as well as the Vortex Core a little heavier because those are keyboards you can just go out and buy. When we're looking at custom keyboards, you can come up with some crazy shit. But I feel like people who are new to 40% are going to be looking at that Core or that Planck EZ and buying those. So those keycaps tend to carry a little more weight. And the Core being a staggered layout, 45% really more so than 40%, it should have something here. However, we also have the ortho. I'm going to judge these overall, including the ortho kit as well. So one of the first things we see when we go into the ortho kit is a 1 unit delete. And so let's take a look here at row 2. Row 1, it can do whatever it feels like. We're not worried about Prionic people here. They have their keycaps. Yeah, so we have a control, a tab, an escape, delete, backspace, as well as the backslashes. I think that's backslash, forward slash. Always get those mixed up. That is a very good ortho column stagger ergo layout there. Again, the 40% columns. Now, not talking about like the ergo docks or anything like that, where you have like 1.5 units just bordering the keyboard. Row 3, we have control, tab, escape, shift, enter. That's fantastic. Row 4, shift. We have 2 shifts. We have an enter. We have our arrows. We have lower raise. We have 2 FN keycaps, 2 1 unit, 2 1.5 unit, and 2 2 units. And let me just see here really fast because I think I spotted. I think those space bars are convex. Don't quote me on that. I have to see pictures of them. At least it looks like that 2 unit is convex, which is nice. Oh, got rid of my picture here. So if you only have, and it looks like they also have a light version and a dark version if you're going for the light alphas and you want those to match. So if you're looking at a ortho keyboard, man, this is a great kit for ortho. If you are looking at buying both kits, so let's take a look here, or covering both staggered as well as ortho. Let's take a look here at the price. So the alphas are $30.99. Let's see, the 40 kit is $36.99, as well as the ortho kit is $24.99. Okay, putting a little more context here. So if you are looking at buying all 3 sets because you have staggered as well as ortho or column staggered keyboards, you can get pretty much complete coverage for those guys for $92.97, no matter what you have. Some oddballs won't be covered there, but that's pretty good. But there is a little caveat there. So let's say you just have a Vortex Core or something that is replacing, or after the P has a 2 unit key that you can also replace with 2 1 unit keys, and you have a delete and a backspace there. And you do want to have the correct legends. So here, let's take a look here at this math a little bit. So the alphas being $30.99. Now, mind just before tax, shipping, other things, currency conversion, $36.99. So if you just have a staggered keyboard, and this staggered layout has you, or staggered kit has you covered. That's $67.98. And just on the ortho side, the ortho's $55.98. That's pretty good. Both those in and of themselves are pretty good. But if you have a core, and again, I'm adding some importance to the core because it's something that you can go buy. The thing is, you go from these keycaps costing you $67.98 to costing $92.97. So that's a, was it like a $25 jump right there for one keycap. Now, some justification for some of these prices. If this is what you want, this is you, and this is what you want your keyboard to say, it's a little more. It's still not a bad price. I mean, it's under $100. I mean, that's still going to get you. That's still a lot cheaper than a keycap set that has fairly poor coverage. That won't have a lot of these keyboards covered. So that's not the end of the world, but it is something to consider. Now, having said that, I would say it's pretty good for staggered layouts. However, overall, it is 40 friendly. So we've had two 40 friendly kits here so far. We've had the Cabernet as well as the Cat's Eye in this video. If you're interested in those, I mean, you should always double check on the keycap coverage with these, but in general, these are going to be able to cover everything 40-wise. If you're not straying too far from default layouts, you're not getting too crazy with things. You're not looking for row 4 or row 5, row 3, depending on the keycap profile, tab, backspace, things like that. So Cat's Eye is 40 friendly. Even with that issue with no deletes in the 40s kit, it's still a good deal if you have to buy that additional kit. However, it just kind of sucks a little bit. But I'm not going to take a good rating from this guy. So one of the things I wanted to mention really quickly, especially for you new users out there, if you're needing keycaps sooner than the estimated delivery dates plus of a group buy, because you might sign up for a group buy now and you might not get those keycaps for a year plus. You go, oh, I'm going to get it, and then it's 13 years later they finally ship in. Oh, I'm not interested anymore. Let's go flip it on Mech Market for an 800% markup. People do that. People buy these just to do that. But let's say you need keycaps a little sooner. Let's say that's too long of a wait, but like a week or a month is a little more your speed. Well, there are a couple of stores I find that do sell some ready-to-go keycap sets. Now, I just want to say before I get into these, I have no affiliation with these companies. They don't pay me. I haven't contacted anybody from there. I have purchased from a couple of these before, but this is just from what I've seen, my use of them. Something I think people should know about and be aware of, because sometimes 17 years is a little long to wait, and by then you're already using 30% anyway. You've elevated, and now you're on your way to steno 20%. Godhood. But the first one I want to mention is Prime KB, or Prime Keyboards. If you know what a Prime E is, you already know who this is. But they sell signature plastic keycaps specifically for 40%. And they do mostly double shot, and you also have a DSS, which is kind of a sculpted kit. But they also have a PBT die sub kit, and they're pretty good on the price. For example, this Aspen, we'll go ahead and pull this up here. You can pause it and take a look at the keycap coverage. Has fantastic 40 coverage. And something to keep in mind, DSA, if you have the keycap for DSA, it's the right size and go on any row, because they're flat. They're like CAM and XDA keycaps. They're uniform. Or row 3 uniform SA. And these are double shot. These are double shot ABS. Now, the signature plastic double shot keycaps besides the SAs are very thin. I will say that. That's kind of the one downside. But honestly, I think the actual molding is better than on the SA keycaps. Like it's much more uniform. They have a little bit of texture to them. But I mean, it's $120. $120, you can cover staggered as well as ortho keyboards and column staggered keyboards. Again, we are missing the 1 unit, 1.5 unit space bars, but I apologize for that. My microphone died. Anyways, Prime KB is a good one over here. Reasonably affordable keycap sets, good coverage, specifically just for 4%. They're, except for that one DSS, they're all DSA, so you can move those keycaps around pretty liberally. And I have a DSA Honeywell I got from them several years ago that you know, has been kind of a lifesaver whenever I build a new keyboard. And haven't gotten new keycaps in yet. Next one is going to be the key.co with their Infinikeys. And I have the candy bar right here. It looks like it is in stock right now. And this has absolutely fantastic 40% coverage for this one as well. I'd probably call it 40 friendly, even though it is missing a few things. But it's another one. It's dive sub PBT. It's that cherry profile. So if you don't want like a sculpted keycap set, or if you want or if you don't want like a flat uniform profile keycap set that you can get on Prime KB, this is an option here. Or if you want PBT, or more of a conservative look with like all black, all red. But they got some pretty neat colors on here. And yeah, I think I already mentioned that I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. Just want to kind of point these out to people who haven't come across it yet, or look deeper at these and thinking like, oh, I gotta wait 17 years. I gotta wait 35 years to get keycaps for my tiny little keyboard. I gotta type on the stems. All right, and then the last one I want to mention here is Drop. And Drop has some ready-to-ship keycap sets, like, for example, I don't see them here. Like Canvas, I know has pretty good 40 coverage. I think it's just ortho, though. These are usually going to be ortho. You have Red Samurai. They have an ortho set. Won't help you if you got staggered 40%. But they do have that. As well as... And it's $85. That's not really too bad for a decent ortho kit for GMK. Then you have something like GMK Pulse, which it doesn't have a 40s kit, as you see right here, but the base kit actually has pretty, if you look at it, pretty decent 40 coverage. And for $155, that's not cheap, mind you, but that's kind of what you expect to pay for a group buy with a base kit as well as a 40s kit as well on there. And this pretty much has, you know, if you have 60s, TKL 75, yada, yada, yada. This is something to take a look at. Though, looks like it's a bit short on spacebars. So, do we have a spacebars kit? No. Well, looks like if you go with something like GMK Pulse, you'll have to use something else for your spacebars. And if you post a picture of that on Reddit, someone will go, I don't understand, where's your spacebars? They can't help it. They're doing the best they can. Let's see. If they list a Spacebars kit down here. That's interesting. The Spacebars kit. Oh, there you go, mini bars. Well, of course, if you can pick those up as like a secondary kit, you can have those added too. So those are just some stores I want to mention where you can go and buy keycaps and realistically receive them within a week or a month, versus, you know, living your entire life and when you're on your deathbed, you get a little notification that your group buy is shipped. So that is the end of the video. I've talked for way too long. If you got any value out of this, like, comment, subscribe to catch future videos. I cover tiny keyboards and VR content. And there's going to be a lot more stuff coming in the future. And they kind of, you know, jump back and forth. So if you see a bunch of VR content, that doesn't mean I'm not covering tiny keyboards anymore. It just means that there's more videos I can make on VR. Now, this series is at least twice a month. On the 2nd and the 16th, so I'm going to be releasing these. I record them the day before and edit them. I edit them. And yes, there are going to be keycaps that are going to be coming out or are going to be going live. Group buys are going to be going live on the day I release this. They'll get covered in the next one. If there's a keycap set that comes out after a video and before the next one gets put up, or like right on the day it gets put up, it's going to end. I'm going to make like a special video for that. There was an SA keycap set that I think started on the 16th and ended like on the 27th in October. Luckily, it wasn't 40 friendly, so I didn't touch that one. But anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this. If you made it this long, man, you have some endurance, I gotta say. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.